Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Deceptor Lab. And like I promised you guys before, I was going to start doing the newsletter. Actually, the newsletter came out yesterday. Had a little bit going on, so I'm going to go ahead and release the news today, most of which is going to start taking place today, on Thursday. And so, just a couple of things to look at. I'll go ahead and switch over to the newsletter. And so, for this particular newsletter, basically saying that we're in week 2 of the saga, and they are close to bringing both Zar and Slugfest to Transformers Earth Wars. Uh, this week they also go over the new war effects. So let's just take a look real quick. So we'll start off with this weekend's event. It's going to be named the Assembly, and that's going to be an alliance event. And some of the prizes you get up to 40 premium combat chips, a G metal power core chip, and then 6 gold power core chips, up to 150,000 combat spark and regular spark. And then you get up to 1,500 4-star shards, 4,000 3-star shards, and 20,000 premium shards. I know I could use that because right now I need power cores, man, to go fuse. So that'll be good. So I'll be starting from tomorrow. Typical battle zones. And there goes your chart for your totalizer prizes. Alright, so this week there's a lot of news, there's a lot of positive news, I feel like, so I definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about the newsletter. Most of you probably have seen it at this point, but if you have not, so the War Season 2 is starting. And so there's some really big changes that came to the war scene, particularly after the implementation by Space Ape of the Alliance Council. And so basically, I talked about it before on here, but basically what happened is they had a bunch of families put in applications to go send in their players, who they wanted to represent them in terms of Prime League, Cybertron League, and then anything below that, they had a group for that also. In addition to an event team chat for all the organizers of events and so on and so forth. And so on the very first day of that, what they came up with is that you needed more nodes in Prime League. So now it's going to be 2 losses before you drop out of Prime League. That should have just went active not too long ago, about 40 minutes ago. And for Cybertron League, it's going to be 3 wins to promote, 3 losses to drop. So they'll have 3 nodules now. Caminus is going to be 3 wins to promote, 3 losses to drop. And then Junkian is going to be 3 wins to promote, 3 losses to drop. So I was excited about it. It was one of the first things that was asked. And the playtesters have been saying that for a while. Don't get it wrong. But I do see a trend now where the playtesters are going to be focused more on playtest items. So testing new bots, testing new combat bots, testing war effects. We have kind of become a jack of all trades for a lot of this stuff. And it's cool. We got a lot of people up there with a lot of really good inputs. But it's a small community, and I feel like it's more a better representation of your community if you got multiple alliance families up there that all apply to be part of the event council. The alliance council. All right, so that's exciting news. In addition to that, Cybertron hard mode is going to be, those effects just took place also. So plus 20% HP and damage per second for all defenses. And then, now we're leaning more towards with these Cybertron effects. For Cybertron and Prime League effects. But one of the things that it's going to do is the MDS is always going to have a different variation. It's going to have a different effect depending on how you have your loadout for your defensive side of your base. And so the laser MDS, when you destroy resource buildings, they're going to heal all your nearby allies, so you get 20% of the total health. For minigun MDS, missile launchers and lasers apply 15% reduced healing. for a total of 10 seconds. And then for Plasma MDS, 15% reduced ability damage for buildings near power core equipped built bots, excluding FFD, which I'll tell you during testing, the Plasma one gave me a hard time. The minigun, that one gave me a hard time also. Laser MDS was kind of a nice to have. I didn't use it, but I did play against it a couple of times during the playtest. And so all three I feel like were pretty good options. I felt like Space Ape pretty much got all of this right the very first time around. Because what we did is we wound up splitting up your testers into Cybertron and then Prime League players. I primarily play in Cybertron League, even though I do play in Prime League. But they had the guys that pretty much live in Prime League start to test the Prime League effects. And so their effects are listed underneath that as well. So for cannons, launchers, and lasers, 5% of their HP per second. And then let's see, cannons, launchers, and lasers, damage is increased by 35 against shielded targets. And then outpost bots that die will respawn once. And it's 10 seconds vector prime effect. So that seems like that'll be interesting in Prime League. I got to play. Well, I didn't get to use it yet. Like, we're in the Prime League battle right now. But it was before the war effects got implemented. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get a chance to do that one again today. Or within the next couple of days. Then we get Prime League hard mode. So 30% as opposed to the 20% that they had for Cybertron hard mode. It goes up another 10%. And then the laser MDS, same effect, but it's 40% of the total health. Minigun is going to be same effect, but except for it's going to be 25% reduced healing. And then the Plasma MDS is going to be 30% instead of the 15% that they had for Cybertron hard mode. So I tested them already. I was really pleased, and I'm looking forward to seeing it on the live server. Alright, the next part of the news. The Titan 4-star part is available, and yeah, it just went live about an hour ago, or a little less than an hour ago. And already right out the gate, I had some excited players sending me messages. I know guys have been waiting for a long time. I kept pushing for them to release some info on that earlier, and eventually, you know, over the past couple of weeks, they did finally release the info. And honestly, man, right now, 30,000 4-star shards I feel like is reasonable, and I feel like it's reasonable because Cyber Pass got added into the mix. And so if you are doing the Cyber Pass, you're already getting a handful of 5-star shards, so you don't have to feel as bad for using your 4-star shards to hoard for the Titan part when you already have other opportunities to get 5-star shards. So I felt like that's a good win for everybody. So congrats to everybody who did finally get the 4-star part. I know that's been bugging a lot of people who were trying to just rock with the 3-star. But the one thing you have to, well, if you had the 3-star, because people who had the 3-star, you have to have that before you can unlock the 4-star. So just keep that in mind. So other things that our team is working on. So a couple of things. They got 4 pairs of G1 power cores. I imagine that Space Ape is releasing that on their stream. So I'm not going to try to stay on here too long because I'm going to watch their stream as well. I'm not 100% certain that they're going to talk about it, but I think they might. But I've been testing the G1 power cores. I think they're really good so far. There's little minor tweaks that I did ask for. I'll do a video on it when it's available, just to do a review of the power cores once they're available live. So they want to go work on displaying the display that they have for fire and acid damage and use, making sure that they're consistent. And they also want to look at 5 level 11 bot abilities and a nose cone and drill horn overhaul. Now I'll tell you the first thing that we're working on right now is playtest circles, the G1 power cores, and it looks like we got a little bit more work that's coming our way. once we do get to the point where we get the ability 11 abilities, once we get the ability 11s come out, that's when once it's live, or once we get the go ahead to do so, that's when I'll go ahead on one of my videos and do a review just like I did for my very first video. Alright, new combat bots. So the Autobots are getting Czar. We on the con side are getting Slugfest. So you can see a picture of Czar right there. And then you got Slugfest underneath it. I will say, so I am in testing for these combat bots right now. I do feel that it's an interesting concept. I like the concept so far of what the ability is going to be. We're working right now to see if we can get Space Ape to tweak it just a little bit. But I think there might be some value in this bot. I'll do a video on that too once it's live. Alright, so a real big news this week. So I called this one a win, but so there was a lot of talk over the past week about electrical damage and what impact it was going to have on the game. So this week what they did is they pushed a bunch of tooltips that use electrical damage. They colored them blue so the players can be aware of when a bot is considered to be using electrical damage. And so they made this Autobot and Decepticon chart so that you know when they're talking about electrical damage, because a lot of people use electrical and stun. They use those words interchangeably. And so straight from Space Ape, this is what they consider to be electrical damage. So you can see like the first one is like Mirage and Breakdown. Their special ability is what they consider. And then for something like Springer and Astro Train, then they talk about the defensive perimeter ability is what they call an electrical ability. When you look at Chromia and Fellback, they're talking about normal attacks. So that's available in the newsletter. It's just some useful content that you can use to try to determine that. Just because there were some players that felt like some of the electrical damage abilities were a little ambiguous. So yeah, there's that. Alright, so the new bots that are going to be coming to the game, we're going to have on the Autobot side, Minerva, and then we're going to have Flatline for the Decepticon side. Space Ape is aware that on Flatline's hood, they did put an Autobot symbol. They are working on changing it. I know that kind of got underneath a lot of people's skin yesterday. And so, yeah, so that's what we got going on there. And then it goes to the content creators page. They got Frankster, DJ Hart, and Waza up there. And then they had some pretty interesting videos recently, so check those out. Community corner, we got some nice artwork up here. And then it goes into the Saga schedule. Now keep in mind that the Apes went back to a 6-week schedule this go around, and the reason why they did that is because they are going to have another leaderboard. We did skip a leaderboard in December so that we can do a chance event, and they did want to get that leaderboard back. It's not going to be one of those things where every saga is going to have a leaderboard, as I understand it. But the problem is that they did want to get that December, make up for that December leaderboard. The other problem is that if they would have done it on the 5th week, then that would have conflicted with the Easter holiday. There's a lot of people traveling during that time and everything like that. And they made that mistake last year, so Space Ape decided, we'll push the leaderboard out a week so that we're not interfering with people's holiday. Alright, a lot of bug improvements and fixes. So there was a lot of controversy over how many times did Shattered Glass Jetfire and Shattered Glass Thundercracker, how many times did their ability cost change. They did decide to go with 5+4. And so, Space Ape somewhat put an apology out there for that and how many changes they had, but they settled on 5+4, so that's what it's going to be. Rook and Blot had the ability damage, the decoy explosion that was, I guess, labeled as electrical damage, and so that is not electrical damage, that's an explosion. And so that fix was made. And then for the MDS, now this was another big controversy this week. The MDS shield generator and shock tower were made immune to electrical damage, and they give some examples there: Scrapnel, Thundercracker, and it wasn't actually mentioned in the tooltip, and so they wanted to bring some consistency with that. And so those buildings will now receive damage from electrical type abilities. However, they will still remain immune to EMP effects. So I honestly want to go take a look at that. I'm gonna do some testing myself. And so my next con highlight that I want to do on Monday, I've already put it out there in my Discord chat, that I want to go look at Thundercracker, because a lot of players that I was talking to, once they got this information yesterday, they started talking about, well, you know, is Thundercracker like a god tier bot now? And it's a lot of good with it. You know, obviously he's got a lot of range, but we'll talk about it on my next stream, and in a couple other tactics that you can use with Thundercracker as well. So I'll go ahead and run that as part of, and I might consider running a couple other electrical bots just to see how they are impacted by this MDS shield generator and shock tower change. And I'm about to be out of here because, as you can see, that the Space Ape crew is going live here in a couple of minutes. So as always, if you like my content, I'm still planning on doing my actual video. I already recorded it. I'm just going to do some editing here, so that'll still be on tonight at 6. You know, what my goal is to, con highlight is pretty much always going to be on Monday. On the Wednesdays, I'm going to try to go with the newsletter. The newsletter came out a little bit later than I wanted to yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to record it. So I just go ahead and throw it up there today. And then on the Thursdays will be when I'll have, you know, one of my just random topic for the week. I would like to go back into my combat bot series. I'm looking see if any of my other content creators that I partner with might want to join in. So look for that soon. But that may or may not be next week. We'll see how it goes. But as always, if you like my content, go ahead, like, subscribe, and honestly, man, all my Discord and social media information is in the About section of this YouTube channel. Go ahead and check me out. But other than that, I'll see you guys later on this evening with my next feature, what I'm going to have in that. And I'm actually looking at what I feel like would be the next group of 5-star bots. If I had my choice, who I would pick. And so that's what I'll be talking about this evening. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the battlefield, and then hopefully I'll see you guys on tonight's video. All right, Freezy is out.